neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John. It's time for another episode of The Think Tank, the series where I take something that's been on my mind in the world of music and then I turn it into a video discussion. And today I pose the question to you guys. Songs are getting shorter. Have you noticed? Jump back in a time machine and go back about 100 years to around 1930, when the average song length was right around 2 minutes, which was not because people just wanted shorter songs. It was because of the physical limitations of the discs that they were being printed to. And even once things transferred over to vinyl and eventually tapes and CDs, there was always time constraints to keep in mind, and no one could have predicted the digital boom, the revolution of downloads and now streaming that rules the nation. Even well into the 1950s and 60s, if you look at some of the most popular songs by iconic groups like the Beatles, many of their early years songs were very short because they were meant to be played on the radio. They needed a little intro that could be talked over because radio DJs were so huge at controlling what music was actually out there and got popular. That's why we have rules about payola and all of that other stuff, but that's a discussion for another time. Essentially, throughout the 1960s into the 70s, as genres like progressive rock and other styles of music that were a bit more expansive with their sounds and couldn't be constrained to just a minute or two, as those rose in popularity, song lengths and the average length of a hit song even started rising. I wanted to look and see in my lifetime of the past 30 years, since the early 1990s, how has the average song length of a hit song actually changed? And according to a study by UCLA, in 1990 it peaked with an average song length of a hit song at 4 minutes and 19 seconds. Since then, it has been on a steady decline, although the past 5 years have definitely been detrimental. I mean, song lengths are eroding faster than the beaches of Florida. Hey man, is it just me, or are songs getting like super short these days?
Yeah, maybe. Sure.
Well, I say that because like I was listening to like a couple of albums over the weekend and I just noticed like a couple of those songs were like barely hitting 2.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just like really frustrating, I guess, as like somebody who loves music, just to see an art form kind of slowly getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I've so fire, dude, for sure.
Are you even paying attention to anything that I'm saying right now?
Oh, sorry, I was a little distracted. I was listening to that new Lil Nas X song.
It's really short, have you noticed? Now all the way here in the future, we've gone from 4.5 minutes down to about 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And again, based on this UCLA study that was done, it seems like that it actually might even be lower, but it was slightly thrown off thanks to All Too Well, the 10-minute version by Taylor Swift. I started noticing this by probably 2019, 2018. I started to see, a lot of these quick little rap and pop songs are popping up. And it makes sense that with the introduction of platforms like TikTok, attention spans are going down rapidly, and the label sees that as an opportunity to make a shorter song, still make all of the money, the artist and everybody else profits as well, and you don't have to put in as much effort to actually flesh out like the bridge or the intro or an extended faded outro. When it really became apparent to me in the pop world was when I was listening to the Justin Bieber album that came out in March 2021. It was called Justice, and most of the songs there don't even top 3 minutes, and it came back into my mind once again, realizing the shorter length of the more pop marketable songs when I listened to Avril Lavigne's album Love Sucks, where just 2 songs topped the 3-minute mark, with several clocking in at around 2 or even less. This definitely varies based on the genre that you're listening to, but I felt it most when it comes to hip-hop, pop, electronic music, stuff that falls into that tag, but also stuff like K-pop or anything that could be considered very streamable and marketable. Things that the label thinks will do big numbers, they make the song shorter in order for it to rack up more plays. Why does it always boil down to money at the end of the day? Everything is about profitability and the margin and all of these other buzzword terms that the Wall Street guy's throwing at you. We're willing to potentially risk the quality of the final product of the song or the album in exchange for profitability. That's where it stands current day. And I was curious. I wanted to take a scroll through my Spotify liked songs to see the average length. and it seems like it's not really affecting me a ton based on a lot of the genres that I listen to, and many of the artists. They aren't people that are gunning for a debut on the Billboard Hot 100 or some other chart, so therefore the average song length hasn't gone down a ton in what I routinely listen to, but it is still being felt because of big albums from artists like Bieber, Doja Cat, even Ed Sheeran. The average song length is without a doubt trending down. Historically, these averages, these trends are always going to change, but this isn't like a genre phase where country or pop or electronic or hip hop or dubstep is dominating a certain year or even a decade. This is something where we're actually seeing attention spans potentially going downwards permanently, and to see that, it kind of makes me sad, because if people aren't challenged to actually be able to pay attention or to find something in a longer song that they might enjoy without shutting it off halfway through, I mean, that doesn't really spell good things for other forms of art too, if we can't actually keep our eyes and ears and hearts open for longer than 30 seconds. Personally for me, that's why I've never really been a huge fan of like shorter form content and just like little interludes and stuff like that. These tracks that just pop up and they last for like 60 seconds and we're on to the next one. It's becoming more and more popular and more mainstream as we see the average length of the hit song going down. So again, my question to you is, have you noticed? Have you actually felt this? Has it impacted the music that you're listening to, you think? Or is it something where you just label yourself outside of that box and you feel like the artists that you listen to, they don't really care about how long their song is, as long as it's the music that they wanted to make? One other thing that I wanted to talk about, is there a perfect ideal song length? Is there something where it just is in and out, it's got the perfect setup, it's verse, chorus, bridge, one final chorus, smash it back in our faces? Is that the ideal setup? Or is it something else entirely? Well, it depends on the genre, obviously, and based on who you ask and poll, it's going to get a variety of different answers, but I tend to find myself liking that 3 to 6 minute sweet spot. There's plenty of artists that thrive right in that range and routinely crank out the 3 to 5 minute tracks, and it really works for them, and they know exactly what they're doing. Occasionally they go less, occasionally they go even more, but that to me feels like the ideal track. It gives you the ability to lose yourself in that song, in the music, in that moment. You want it, you'll never let it go.
Why did I do it? Mom's spaghetti.
Anyways, that is my take on the whole song length debate, and I want to know any and all thoughts that you guys have. Let me know in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, please do me a favor, hit that like button, join the discussion, subscribe for the love of music, and check out more episodes of The Think Tank floating on screen now. Other than that, I'll be back soon for more on Beyond ARTV. Just kidding, this is ARTV.